Welcome to this episode on the Health and Happiness Show, where it's my mission to change your mindset so that you can live a healthy and happier life. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go. So, Conall, you have just finished the 16-week Health and Happiness Academy. How do you feel right now?
It's a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag. I'm very, very happy to have achieved it. Very, very proud of myself to have done it and gotten through it with goals that I didn't even expect, and achieving those. It's a little bit bittersweet because I do enjoy being a part of the academy. I do enjoy taking the time to go over the stuff on the website and talking to the guys and our one-to-ones and our support calls and stuff. That's been such a big part of this whole process the entire time, and it's been such a great tool that you use to develop. So with that not happening as regularly, that's going to be a bit of a shock to the system, I think.
So take me back to that moment where you considering the academy. You're like, okay, there's this Ollie guy on Instagram. Like, take me back to how you were feeling both in that decision making to joining the academy and actually how you were feeling about how it's in yourself. Obviously, you've gone on such an amazing transformation. I say that physically, I say that mentally, I say that emotionally. I have seen your growth every week for the last 4 months, and that is why I'm so proud. But I want to go back to 17, 18, 19 weeks ago, where you were a completely different person. What was your sort of thought processes then? How were you feeling then? Who were you back then?
Back then, I was just about to turn 37, and I've got to this place in my own life where myself, I'm thinking, you can't help comparing yourself, but you see your friends and you see your loved ones, doing the things that are grown up, like buying a house and getting married and having kids and that thing. And some of that's not for me, but there is certainly an element of growth that you see within people who do that kind of thing. And I didn't see it in myself. So I was coming up to a birthday and I wasn't happy with what I saw as when I looked in the mirror. I wasn't happy with where I was in life, and I couldn't really, there was that little piece of the jigsaw that I couldn't find in order to move on to the next level. So I knew something needed to change, and I needed something to influence me into the right mindset and get into the next, to find that piece of the puzzle, really, to get to that next step. And in back then, I thought it was fitness. I thought it was, well, let's get into discipline, let's get into routine, let's talk about accountability, and all the benefits that come with improving your fitness. And I didn't really see the mental aspect of it and the social aspect of it. So back then, it was quite a naive Conall that thought that all I was going to contact a coach or a personal trainer for was simply to lose weight. So having already been a follower of yours on Instagram, I kind of thought, well, I know loads of different personal trainers, but I heard your story and I thought, well, this guy has no excuses. He's given himself no excuses. I shouldn't have any. And I'm in a much better position, for him. So that's definitely someone I can see as making me accountable, as in holding me to this promise that I'm going to have for myself. And that's basically when I decided to contact you, because you'd put an Instagram story up, and it was about committing. And if you can commit to this, then let me know and comment. And I commented, and we just went from there. And it was a very casual process. There was no hard sell or anything because I'd already made the decision to go ahead and do something about it. But it was literally just finding out about what what this would entail. And having done the 16 weeks, it's very difficult to pinpoint, at that point in time, what everything is that you can achieve. And it was only 16 weeks, so that was my mindset. That's where I was back then. I was unhappy. I wanted to change, but I wasn't entirely sure of how to go about it, or indeed what I wanted.
What may be some of your concerns entering this process, right? So we're in this conversation exchange because, one of the things that I guess I'm trying to change within the health and fitness industry is bring about a level of trust and transparency. Too often, too many times, people are being sold the cookie cutter plans, they're being let down. And what really upsets me genuinely is when people pour energy and emotion into saying, these are the problems that I'm facing with, and I need help with them. And then they're being sold this disingenuous cookie cutter plan that actually the personal trainer knows isn't going to really help them. And there's just this complete lack of, sincerity and honesty. What were some of the concerns behind, is this guy going to be able to help me? Is this program going to be going to be able to help me? It's an online program. Like, what were some of the concerns perhaps pre-entering the academy? You've identified that you're in a degree of pain, that you need to change. You're entering this 37th birthday, and you wanted this. You knew you wanted this, but what were some of those concerns? Because essentially there will be other 37, 36-year-olds listening to this with those same pain points, which is amazing because pain is purpose in life. And it's that driving force, it's that motivation. But like then the concerns come in. Can I afford it? Is this going to really work? Am I going to give up? Like, what were some of those concerns? Because I think there'll be so many people that will be able to relate to this. And I think that's the power of this.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of concerns about myself, which I'll go into in a second. But I think from the perspective you're talking, there is always that doubt about, is this guy knowledgeable enough? Does he, know what he's doing enough? And is he going to be responsible you know, with me and with molding me and bringing me on this journey? Um, I think that there was a little bit of trepidation around it because I think it involves an exchange of money, and people are always odd about that, and people are always funny about that. Um, but at the end of the day, you're investing in yourself, and this is really, you know, the only thing that I wasn't really entirely sure of is what kind of experience I was going to get. But I knew I wanted to get it. I just needed something to kind of get over the initial shock and nerves of doing this. Which is totally what happened on the very first call that we had, where we just chatted and talked, and there was nothing in it that really set off any alarm bells. In fact, it was more the case of I came away from it going, I think this guy genuinely does care, and he genuinely does. He gives a shit about what I want to achieve, so much so that he's willing to be there all the time, and constantly work hard. And I mean constantly work hard. But yeah, that was a bit of the bugbear about an outside factor, like what it was that was, could I trust you, basically.
I think trust is massive. I've worked with coaches myself. I currently work with a coach. I currently work with mentors, and it's the exact same feeling. It's, can I trust you? I'm paying you this money. Where the hell is it going? Am I actually going to get the result? There's so many fears, and it's scary. And I guess there's an element of gambling within this. There's like, it may work, it may not work. And I would just hope that through your experience, it would be encouraging to the others listening that actually it is. I'm not going to run away with your money. I am as honest as they come. But yeah, like it's so good to hear for me to hear that, because essentially it's the other side of the fence of actually I can put out all this content, but actually I don't know how I'm coming across, and and whatnot. But that's really good to hear. Okay, so we're in the academy. What was the experience, right? What was the experience in terms of being in the academy? Was it what you thought? Bear in mind, I'm open to feedback here. So if there's anything that you want to give me criticism, 100% I'll take this on board. I've said this enough. I take on board all feedback. But like, what was that experience inside the academy you're in? You're in the academy. What did it look like? How did it feel?
Immediately, it was very much, oh, this is what this is. Oh, right, okay. This is not just okay, we're going to do split squats for half an hour. About this is about achieving a level of contentment and happiness, not just for your body but for your mind as well. And I think immediately getting into it, I mean, the first week, without spoiling anything, you sent me a book. I'm like, all right, this guy's serious. This guy knows. This guy knows what the score is. And there's not a lot of people out there who would be in this profession, Ollie, that would send you homework like that.
It
And
was homework.
well, yeah, it was. It didn't feel like it because at the end of the day, everything that we were doing as we went along all kind of melded together and it all made sense together. It was absolutely lovely knowing that you were part of a community, a little group on the WhatsApp, because every single person on that is there for the same reasons, to be more healthy and to be more happy. And one of the ways you do that is being good to others and helping other people out. And that's exactly what that WhatsApp group does. There are so many times when I've just had a crap day, or I've had I couldn't be bothered with something, but the WhatsApp group comes in and people are sharing food on it and they're talking about their stories and they're asking for advice, and just having that level of interaction was great. And that's one thing that I notified right away, that it was just so involved, and you could step back if you wanted to, but if you wanted to go, feet first into it, you could.
What has been perhaps the most so there's many aspects to the academy, right? We've got the WhatsApp group, as you said there. We've got the one-to-one calls. We've got the weekly group calls, business, personal development, support. We've got the live workouts. So it's a full-on experience.
Yeah.
What would be perhaps the most valuable thing that you've taken away from the academy? What would be the most valuable?
It would have to be the change in mindset, and the positive change in the mindset, because every time I tried to do anything in the that I did in the academy, every time I tried to start a podcast, every time I tried to get fit, every time I tried to develop myself, I was always met with the same negative mindset, the same negative bias, and the same voice in your head or my head saying, no, wait, or no, listen, or that's risky, or don't be doing that. And the biggest takeaway from that in the academy is that I don't have that anymore. And if I do, I've also got another voice there saying, wise up, you need to get it, you need to get stuck in here, time waits for no man. you know um and I think that's been the biggest change in me, because you get to see things with a different perspective. And previously I would have, I mean, anyone would have used different processes to find that perspective, but to have that facility in yourself where you can pull that out yourself, it's invaluable.
It's really good to hear. Okay, and then on the subject of mindset, I think this is very, very applicable. So let's go back maybe to week around 8, I think it was. You know what I'm talking about. It was the darkest time in your academy experience. And I think this is a little bit unspoken of. I think when people go into any journey, whether it's an academy or just their own diet, they think it's going to be rosy. They think it's going to be plain sailing. And we hit a point where it was the dark point for us in that journey where I was like, there's a possibility that, Connor's going to give up. And I was like, right, okay. And I was very aware as the coach on the other side of what was going on, but I was excited. And the reason why I was excited, because I was like, this is the growth. This is where Connor was either going to stop and give up, and that's okay for some people, or Connor's going to grow. He's going to grow from this moment. He was being challenged. He was being tested. He was being tried. Patience, environmental factors coming into here, right? How was that moment? And to the person listening to this right now who's going through that dark and difficult period, how did you get through it and how can they get through it?
There aren't really many words to describe, because getting to week 8 after assimilating all the knowledge and learning all the techniques and doing everything that you're being told to do, and experiencing so much positivity and so much support, and then you get to this point where you're not achieving your goals and there's no traction on it, you suddenly come to a stop. And you know what, for whatever reason it happens, it does happen, and there's a multitude of reasons why it happens, which, if I knew now what I knew then. But at that point it was a very emotional, because I was like, I've done everything, I'm doing it all, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing here, and it's not yielding the results. um and this is what I was talking about in the last question you asked, because previously I would have just gone, Ollie, this has been lovely. Thank you so much, for your time and your energy, but I'm going to knock it on the head. I probably wouldn't have been as polite as that, but it would have been a case of where I would have just kind of given up and went, do you know what? I've tried. It's not working for me. It's not for me. And then 12 months later, I would have been saying, I need to do something about this. So what happened was, I asked for help, and I showed a vulnerability, and I let someone else in. And that is probably the biggest thing that helped me, let me overcome it, because in doing so, I got a fresh perspective. And it was from you. I mean, that's the first thing I would say to anyone thinking about having an adult time in the academy, is to contact you, because there's a certain amount of information that you get to learn over the 8 weeks, but you don't know everything. Whereas you are experienced, you have the ability to coach people, so you're the person that's going to bring it out. And putting my trust in someone to take care of that, and to enable me to see the way out of it, was the massive thing. That was what got me through it, because within a week everything was getting better. Within a week. And we made additions and took stuff out, and we tweaked things basically. But going through this whole process is very, very difficult, because it requires a lot of sacrifice and a lot of energy, and a lot of single-mindedness. And every time you get a wee glimpse of something not going right, it's very easy to crumple. So having the support there of yourself and the academy was totally what brought me through it completely.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice to hear, and it was just so rewarding watching you get through that difficult period. Um, because not everyone does, but you did, and it's one of those where, like, as the coach, when you hit the milestones, and we'll touch on the milestones after this, I party with you. Let's go, right?
Yeah.
If it, podcast, weight loss, overcoming the back issue, whatever it was, right? Like I party with the client when they hit the wins. I love it. But actually, what I love seeing more, because this ties into mindset, is when that individual overcomes a challenge. And you've had your fair share of challenges. That dark period was just one, right? Whether it's from the back or other things that we don't need to go into, you've had to overcome your challenges. But like this journey is a marathon with hurdles. And mindset is the thing which tells the individual to jump over each hurdle. And if you fall, because people do fall, mindset's also the thing that gets you back up. So, honestly, Conall, I tell you this now, like watching you jump over each hurdle, because I've been the coach on the sideline watching you jump over each hurdle. And me and you both know those hurdles that you've had to overcome. Let's not even, I mean, haven't even touched into the fact that a couple of weeks into this process, you lost your job because of the coronavirus, right? That's another challenge in and of itself. So to see the challenges and the multitude of challenges, and you've overcome every single one is amazing. And as we come to the end of this academy journey, I have confidence now that every hurdle that's going to continue, because they're not just going to stop, they're always going to continue to crop up. You'll be better equipped more and more and more because of the mindset that you've now created as a result. So I want to touch on some wins, right? This can be one win, it can be three wins, it doesn't really matter. What have been, or what was the biggest wins over the last 16 weeks? Think of maybe the 1 to 3 biggest milestones, because I can think of a handful at least. But I want you to sort of really go, actually, no, that was my biggest win. They were my biggest wins.
To reduce it down to a couple would be difficult, but we'll try. I think the first time I really had a good session with the high intensity workouts were the fact that I was sweating so much I had to like mop my brow or I was dripping with sweat. That's a big milestone for someone who hasn't achieved that in 10 years or hasn't done exercise like that in 10 years. Um, Certainly, the t-shirt incident where I put a t-shirt on and I was like, this fits now. It hasn't done so in 2 years. Now it fits. That was a huge one. The setting up of the podcast and the actual publishing of the podcast. I mean, I never thought I would be ever able to do that. I didn't think that there would be a point where it would come to fruition without at least a year. And I did it within 10 weeks, something like that. What else? There's so many. I'm trying to pick out the big ones. That getting over that hurdle midway through was very big, because again it could have been me just saying bye bye. So being able to get over that, and then using that experience to learn how to get over the other hurdles that I met, which were me not working out for 2 weeks because I did my back in, which was very, very difficult. But you take your energy and you put your energy somewhere else, and you make yourself better, and then you go back and you train twice as hard. And I think the goal setting part of this whole process, where you start out saying, right, I want to lose weight, and that's your one goal. And then about 2 months, maybe 2.5 months into it, you go, well, I've lost the weight now, so what else do I do? And then you turn around and say, well, then you set more goals. What do you want to do? And it was, no matter how silly you think it is, Conall, no matter how unattainable you've ever thought it is, let's set it and see what we can do to go and get it, because you can do anything if you want to. So the setting of those new goals to move on, and to set up a photo shoot, which I never thought would ever happen, has been a huge win as well. You know, all that development, it has just been crazy, crazy.
100%. So 100%. I mean, yeah, let's touch on the photo shoot, but let's just go. I want to say one thing which you haven't said, and this is cool. One of my biggest, one of my proudest moments, one of your biggest wins, I believe. And I asked you this question, I think it was last week. When you start this process, you were adamant that you weren't going to train at a gym. Home training, nope, that's it. I'm training at home. I don't like gyms, full of so and so's, right? I asked you the question last week, are you going to train at the gym? And you said yes. That in and of itself is the confidence transformation, because you've now seen the value in training, in the complexity of different types of training. You now have the confidence to go in the gym and train. And now you're talking about actually doing a photo shoot in a gym, which is just the cherry on top. And it really, really is amazing. And just watching that side of the confidence grow, seeing when you're saying how you were getting peed off at the challenges of the podcast and overcoming those, the mentality that you applied to when you're back when, how you weren't going to get in bed and just mope around all day. No, you're productive editing podcasts, doing X, Y, and Z. Like, just every single milestone is just incredible. It really, really is. Because when you think about it, this program's a third of the year. Like and never judging, only observing, but like a lot of people would have gone through the last 4 months, certainly during coronavirus, in a different mindset, the pity party, the victim mentality.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because everyone's on their own journey. But you, in that face of adversity, was like, no, 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 what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And seeds of, like, we don't need to go into what they are. Me and you both know what they are, but seeds have been planted on this academy,
Yeah.
which are going to change the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life and your career. That's pretty bloody amazing. And maybe that would be the biggest win, which is so incredible. So yeah, I'm over the moon, like, and just proud, just really, really proud, Conall. Like, to sort of conclude then, I would love for you to speak to the person considering the academy and giving, one bit of advice, one sort of, bit of advice in the last sort of 4 months about, as someone who has been there, they've gone that, they've been there, they've done that, they've got the t-shirt sort of thing. What would be your advice? Because like I said, this is an investment. This is scary. Can I trust them? What would be your advice to that listener right now?
This whole process takes it takes a lot for you to do. It's not an easy process, but that makes it even more worth it at the end. And not everything is going to be perfect about this process. Um, you know, and when you come to the end of it, it's not going to be perfect. But what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to see the good in that, and how to see the better in what stuff is not perfect. Because when you end up getting perfect, then you have nowhere else to go. And what you're doing with the academy is going on a journey, and you have to keep traveling. You have to keep moving forward. That's the biggest thing that you should take away from this, because it's okay to get things wrong and to not see results day on, week on. Because there's always a way to come back from it and fix it. You have to keep developing, you have to keep moving forward. If you're going to do the academy, you've already made the decision to start what's going to be, as far as I'm concerned, the best thing that will happen for you. So just bear in mind that these journeys have peaks and troughs. So just make sure that you're ready for them, and understand that when you do find yourself at a point where you're really low, you'll be supported, and at a point when you're really high, you'll be celebrated, because that's just what Ollie does.
Conall, you have come such a long way over the last 16 weeks. You're not just a client, you're not just an academy student, you are a friend. And I really am proud of what you've achieved. We've already been setting goals for the next, few months, next few years. And honestly, that's pretty exciting. So congratulations. Any final words?
Just to say that I mean, to express any kind of gratitude towards the work that you do and the effort that you put in every single day for every person, as well as dealing with your own journey and your own, your own life. It's just, I'm quite jealous because you're so young, and it's just, if I had known this stuff when, and this mentality when I was your age, I don't know, I'd probably be Jeff Bezos by now. But I just think it's a really incredible journey, and for you to have created this that people can go on, it's just a testament to how your great character. So I really can't thank you enough.
Well, it's obviously really kind of you to say. And just on we'll just finally touch on the age thing there. You know, every day we're writing our own autobiography, right? And it's easy to look back and go, because I do it as well. It's easy to look back and go, I wish I'd known that at your age and so forth, right? But at the end of the day, I know your story and I know the challenges that you've had to overcome and the journey that you've been on. And every day, and I guess what this academy allows you to do is it allows you to redefine the way that you write your story for a different lens, for a different perspective. And that's the most powerful thing. Like, it actually gives me goosebumps now to think about the new chapter that you're going into as a result of closing another chapter over the last 4 months. The
Yeah.
skills, the knowledge that you have, the confidence that you've grown, and the mindset that you now have. So, of course, it's easy to look back and go, oh yeah, I wish I'd done X, Y, Z. I wish I knew X, Y, Z. But ultimately, like, it's that's wisdom. Do you know what I mean? And you're in a position now where you can lead others, you can guide others, and you're a stronger person because of it. And yeah, like, I think it's amazing. You know, there's no instruction manual to life. You've been doing the best that you can. I've been doing the best that I can. The reason why the Health and Happiness Academy exists today is because of my own adversity with cancer. And I'm just on this mission now to help people live a healthy and happier life. So my final question then is, have you finished this program, Healthier and Happier?
100%.
Yay.
Without a without a doubt.
You're not allowed to say no. And if you did say no, I wouldn't let you leave until you did say yes. Um, that's my aim, Conall. It's been my pleasure over the last 4 months. Thank you so much for being a part of this academy. And until next time, stay healthy, be happy.